Hi, my name's Louise, this is Plus One Baby. If you want to hear about my pregnancy journey, then like and subscribe this video or leave some comments down below. So this week was quite an exciting week, the 36-week mark, getting really close now. You know, I'm going to meet her soon in a couple of weeks. And this week I had a midwife appointment, which I've already done a video on, so you can check that out. And also this week I had my 36-week scan. So every pregnant woman loves going to see her scan. It's also a great time for your partner to, you know, come and see the baby, make it seem really real, because you can see everything on the screen and you get to see the fingers, the toes, the face. It's really sweet, so it's really nice. But actually the funny thing is that when you go to an ultrasound scan further along, you don't quite get as much as you do from the earlier scan. So the 12-week scan and the 20 scan, because the baby's so small, you tend to get a really nice little profile picture, almost like a little bean inside your belly. But once you get, so I had a growth scan at 28 weeks, and then I also had my 36 weeks. Because the baby's really so big, you don't really get to see that nice little bean in your belly, but we got to see her fingers doing this, and, you know, as they sort of poked the machine right up. So the baby's head is in a cephalic position, that's what they call it, which is head down. They said she's quite low, which is good news for me because she's already 36 weeks. And in order to check the measurements, so in part, as when you have your ultrasound scan, the reason why you're not going really just to see the baby, you're going to check that all of the measurements are correct and that the baby is growing and developing healthy. So the baby's head is very low in the bump, which is obviously good news. She's not quite engaged, but she's getting in a nice position. So I'm doing lots of leaning forward, as I've been suggested by the midwife. But the baby's head is right down there, and on the screen we got to see her eye sockets and her little nose and her hands doing things like that. And we also got, and her feet are right up here underneath my ribs, and we got to see her feet pushing up, so that was nice. The thing that I didn't enjoy was I had to sit on my back when I first got on, and I haven't been sitting on my back for a long time, because you read online that actually, you know, as you move into the third trimester, you shouldn't be lying on your back because it can make you dizzy, and also something to do with the blood flow to the baby. So I've definitely been avoiding that, but obviously to go for the scan I had to sit on my back. But it was really uncomfortable for me, and it was making it really achy. So what I had to do was I kind of had to shift a bit to the left or a bit to the right. But actually the sonographers who were taking the scan were absolutely fine with that, because actually it did help them to get all the measurements that they need, because the space is definitely running out in there. So what else at the scan? So at the scan I also had my blood taken. So they were testing for preeclampsia, which is a condition which is something to do with your placenta and how that's forming correctly. So they took that blood at the beginning. And I have my scans in London in a place called the Harris Birthright Centre, which is absolutely fantastic. It's a brand new facility, really nice building. It's all around fetal development, and they have a lot of training nurses that come. But I have had, every time I've been treated with the utmost professional people, and it's you feel very welcome. They explain everything to you from the beginning. They're very polite, and they always ask you before they do anything or before they reposition you. So it's very comfortable. So at the end of your scan, every time I've been, they've always given me a little printout like this, and it just tells you really what they found on the scan. So it confirms your estimated due date based on the scan, and then it also refers to your estimated due date based on your last period. And with me, that differs by a couple of days, so not a real big change there. It also shows you all of the measurements and where you plot on the mean between the 5th and the 95th percentile. So it's actually really interesting to see, you know, whether your baby's head circumference or its belly circumference or how long it is, and just to see whether it's either a little bit under the normal or a little bit over the normal. So as anybody who's watched any of my other videos will have seen, my fundal height is quite big and much bigger than it should be for the number of weeks I am. So I was really interested when I went to the scan to find out, is my baby going to be huge and the delivery is going to be crazy, or is it lots and lots of fluid? So I mentioned this to the sonographers, and they looked through, and I've got the charts here, and actually the baby is spot on for being completely average. She's growing at a rate which is completely consistent with the other scans that I've had, and they have absolutely no concern about how she's growing. There is quite a lot of amniotic fluid with, at the 36-week scan, the deepest pool of amniotic fluid was 7.8 centimetres, whereas in the 20-week scan, at the 29-week scan, which was only 7 weeks ago, the deepest pool was 6.3. So when you look at that on the, you know, in between the 5th and the 95th percentile, it's on the high side, just below the top line, but it's still within the normal ranges, so that they had absolutely no concern with that. And one of the interesting things that I like to find out at the scan is how heavy they think the baby is. And at this late stage of 36 weeks, they are able to determine what your baby's weight will be at birth. So I've been waiting to find out what her estimated birth weight is going to be, so that I can start choosing her little outfit that she's going to wear when she comes home from hospital, and I can start washing it. But so they told me that at the scan, based on all of her measurements, they're estimating that she weighs about 6 pounds 2 ounces, which is just under 3 kilos for those of you who use those measurements. And they are estimating the birth weight to be around 7 pounds 11 ounces. So, and that's if I go to 40 weeks. So both my husband and I, when we were born, were around 7 pounds. And so that's not, you know, 7-11 sounds completely normal. So I've looked at the newborn clothes that I have, and it says that the newborn weight range is up to about 7 pounds 5 ounces. So what I'm going to do for my hospital bag is I'm going to make sure that I wash 2 sizes, one for newborn and one for 0 to 1 or 0 to 3 months old, just so that if she is that little bit bigger, then I can choose what to put on her. But I'm pretty sure what they've estimated that she'll fit into newborn. So everything was completely normal. It was lovely to see baby on screen at the scan, and now it's just waiting through the home stretch and waiting for labour to start.